How have your approaches changed to peak performance, to creativity, and to accessing flow?
The problem with getting older is getting relaxed and too complacent and losing your hunger. Because there's something like that you just cannot believe about writing something and getting them to laugh. You're like, what and how the hell did I do this? Like, it just comes together. You're doing it for like an hour and 15 minutes, whatever. And it's working and you don't even remember writing it. And it's just this magical time that for me really lasted forever. But you will get to a point sometimes where that sensation and that phenomenon, you can become inoculated to that. You can kind of get, I don't know what the word is. The first time you step into a Ferrari, you're like, look at these seats, man. That's why you got to get back to the why. What are you doing this for? And if it's just for yourself, you're in trouble. So maybe I keep trying to think of different ways to inspire myself, different ways to keep myself motivated. It's always hard to write something funny, and because I have to surprise myself first for you to be surprised. Yeah. That challenge never goes away. So maybe some days I just would rather do anything else than sit still until something happens. God, I hate that. And then, like Steven said, man, it's like, it's vulnerable. It's like, I don't know, what happens if I write the whole thing and nobody reads it? What if you do the whole thing and nobody cares? But they won't, and you can't worry about that. Stephen Pressfield wrote that book, The War for Art. And he's talking about Somerset Maugham, who I love as a writer. And he said, the muse hits me at 5:30 in the morning because I sit down and I just start writing. So I'm not waiting for the muse. How has my approach changed? I find it harder to just show up and stay as hungry as I was.
Well, the point you made on becoming desensitized to the high is a really interesting one.
That's the problem, man. And you get closer and closer to the flame. This is why a lot of these tip of the spear operators, these special forces guys, keep going back into the theater once more into the round, because everything else is a bore, man. And you got to just keep getting a little closer. Okay, you got to stay close to that flame, because if you don't feel alive anymore.
I'm curious if anything fresh is coming to mind there as far as changes to your approach to writing and your work in general.
So I've worked with the same editor, Michael Wharton, for a couple of decades now. As a writer, working with a publisher, your editor will read your book like once or twice. That's all the feedback you get. And I was like, that doesn't work for me. He gets to go bomb on a comedy club every night for like 3 months while he's working out his act. I was like, I need somebody. And Michael, it turns out, is both my best friend and I think the best editor I've ever worked with. So much of what I do is because I want him to laugh or him to go, wow, I see what you did there with that sentence. It's really odd, but there's a lot of levels of my books are, in a sense, written for that one audience first and then everybody else. But it's a lot of it is a lot of like the motivation to like show up every morning is also like, I know he's going to read it twice a week. And when I've laid a turd, you can tell, like, Michael stumbles over words and he'll get mad every now and again. This is terrible. What are you doing? Like, because it's such an unflowy session. It's great to have that sort of honest feedback that you get. But I think when I think about how my work has changed, so much of like what I want is just like feedback from a couple of people. When the book is done, it's the first like 5 or 6 people. What do you think? Is it funny? Did it move you in this way? Did you learn what I was hoping you would learn? Or people always find stuff in your work that you didn't intend to be there.